Hi, folks. This morning we come to what's going to be the last of our devotionals until the end of the summer. God willing, we will start again doing these devotions in September onwards. We're going to finish off Psalm 5 that we've been looking at the last few days. And today we're going to look at the psalmist's actual request. It's interesting that he doesn't actually make any specific request until he comes to verse 8 in the prayer. That's instructive. Sometimes we can rush into God's presence and start off with what we want and just focus on that. And don't get me wrong, there's times when that's okay. But it is better to take time and to think about God and to ponder our situation and to share all of that with God before actually bringing specific requests to God. It's also interesting to notice what it is the psalmist asks for. Look at verse 8. Lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. What does that mean? Well, it seems that what the psalmist is asking for is for God to show him how he should act, how he should conduct himself in the face of these difficulties that he is experiencing. He doesn't want to say anything, he doesn't want to do anything that will in any way ruin his witness or cast any kind of aspersions on his being a follower of the Lord, one who trusts in God. He doesn't want to give his enemies ammunition that they can use against him. What he wants to do is, facing these difficulties, he wants to behave in a way that is fully consistent with him being a child of God. Now, he is going to pray for protection from his enemies. We see that in verse 11, where he says, spread your protection over them. And the them there refers back to verse 10, those who take refuge in you. And that's what the psalmist was doing. But his chief concern is that he will conduct himself in a way that is God glorifying. That throughout his difficulties, throughout his trials, he will behave himself in a way that his enemies can't use against him. Whenever you and I face difficulties and trials and tragedies in life, whenever things in our life go somewhat pear-shaped, those who are our friends, our relatives, our workmates who are not saved, they will be very quick to notice how we react in those circumstances. They'd be quick to notice how much our professed Christian faith and trust in God is a reality in life's difficulties. If they see us falling apart at the seams and behaving no differently from the way an unbeliever would behave, then they will conclude that all our talk about trusting in God and confidence in God, that it's all a sham. But if they see us as they should see us, facing our trials with trust and hope and drawing our strength in the midst of our trials from our relationship with God, that will be a powerful witness to them. That should be our prayer. Lord, lead me in your righteousness. Make your way straight before me. Effectively, what that means is, Lord, show me how to deal with this situation I'm in a way that honours you, in a way that demonstrates faith and trust in you to other people. The psalm ends with a statement of firm conviction by the psalmist. He says, you bless the righteous, O Lord. You cover him with favour as with a shield. And that's the reality of the Christian's experience. Despite any difficulties that the child of God may have to face, and all Christians will face difficulties in life. You remember the words of Job, man is born unto trouble just as surely as the sparks fly upward. He's stating there that we live in a fallen world, and part and parcel of living life in a fallen world is that we will experience trials. But despite the trials that the child of God is ultimately facing, that child of God ultimately will be blessed by the Lord in a way that the unsaved is not blessed by God. And God does cover us and surround us and protect us with His grace. It's in that confidence that we go forward into daily life. So if you're facing trials now, or when you face your next trial, do what the psalmist did. Ask God to show you how to conduct yourself in a way that is consistent with your Christian faith and that will be a testimony to those about you of how much you're trusting in the Lord. May the Lord bless you over these summer months. I trust you will be rested and refreshed, and God willing, we'll pick up these devotionals again come September. Every blessing.